the system is going to make them dead, because everybody who's called brain dead, the system makes them dead either by cutting out their vital organs, or if they can't breathe on their own, taking their life support away from them. No one should be declared dead unless there's destruction of those systems. What do they do in brain death? They have the law revolves around an absence of function, and so it's revolves around activity. If you don't have activity, then you're called dead. Like the little girl in California, 11 years old, goes into diabetes and coma, and the result of that, immediately they start focusing on calling her brain dead, but they can't do the formal test. They do the formal test, and she doesn't take a breath. The formal test of taking away the ventilator, called the apnea test. She doesn't breathe. They write on her chart that she's brain dead, but then they want to do another test. The mother, the father plead, beg. We do everything to keep them from doing the second one, because the apnea test is a terrible, terrible test. They take away the ventilator for up to 10 minutes, and the patient must show they can take a breath, or that becomes the signal to cut out the beating heart. That little girl, they did the second one in spite of pleading not to do it, and she took a breath. She was called brain dead the first time. It could not call her brain dead the second time because she took a breath. And here we are 2 weeks later and going to go to court tomorrow, and the doctors in the hospital are wanting to do another one of these apnea tests, and this little girl shows much evidence of healing. But what happens is that once somebody has this declaration of brain death, the system is going to make them dead, because everybody who's called brain dead, the system makes them dead either by cutting out their vital organs, or if they can't breathe on their own, taking their life support away from them. That's why they say nobody's recovered from brain death. Nobody's going to recover when they have their beating heart cut out. They cut out the organs, and they always are dead if they need the life support and take it away. It's so sad, because on the surface, they pretend like they really want to do something, but underneath, there's all these things. John Henry, you mentioned about people in Canada hovering over to get the organs. In the United States, we have that, except we give them a nice name. We call them a designated requester. So the treating physician is not allowed to discuss organ transplants. The designated requester, who is often described as somebody who is dressed very nice, has a lot of charisma, gets a cup of coffee, befriends somebody in the family, and eventually gets them to say yes. And then, John Henry, I work with people all over the world. I say all over, many, many places in the world. That includes Canada and includes England. More than once, someone has said, well, you have it so nice in the United States because we in Canada or we in England have socialized medicine. In the United States, at least in my opinion, we have socialized medicine also. In Canada, there's one pool of money. In the United States, there's three pools of money: the federal money, the state money, and then the private insurance company. All of the private insurance companies do exactly what the federal government says to do. So it's a form of socialized medicine. There's a little bit of input into it, but not really. This morning I go to physical therapy. It will stop pretty soon, no matter what, because there's a certain number of visits. It doesn't revolve. It's a similar kind of thing, but it's not quite so open as it is in Canada and England.